Next, this video I'm gonna, at least my plan for now, which is certainly likely to change as I get in the middle and discover what seems more fun or what seems the right thing to do at the moment, which is a lot of what art is, which makes it tricky to teach. But I'm going to plan on working on the planter and the underside of the overhanging roof, and possibly a little bit of darkening up of some of these greens that are more in shadow. So the planter, I'm going to do some quinacridone burnt orange, as well as introduce just a little bit more yellow and maybe even a little bit of naphthol red. I want to make sure I don't lose the idea of the value changing from a lighter value to a darker value, but I also want it to be a warmer, yellowier, reddish to a burnt orange, rustier red, brick red. Anyways, sometimes those words don't really do these justice. So there's a bit of yellow. I'm going to bring a bit of quin burnt orange over here in this mixing area that's already got some nice dark muddy colors, but that's okay. It's kind of what I want for as we keep getting darker. And we'll see what happens here. I'm just going to start off kind of glazing with this yellow. I think you guys saw me, well, if you're in my class, saw me do this on the little study. I'm grabbing some naphthol. That's pretty just orangey there. What happens if I... The tricky thing is to not lose the lighter value, but to still try to make it kind of a transition look and have it be the same, appear that it's, this object is all painted the same color, but it just so happens that the light interacts with it in a way that makes the colors appear much different. Being a little bit sloppy here, but the more you start understanding about the values and having an idea of where the values are going to be dark and where they're going to be light, it makes it that much easier to know when to sort of worry about making sure something stays light, or being okay if it gets really dark and muddy. That's that area. Let me wipe the tape off here. I could go more, but I'm not going to right now. I'm going to do something kind of similar. I'm gonna, for this one, I don't want it to be as in the sun, because it's not in the sun, but I'll show you. I want it darker as it reaches this the green, the dark green, and all of this is going to be getting quite a bit darker, so that's what's happening with that. I think I want it to get slightly darker as it comes down this way too. You'll see what I mean here. So I think, what about a little bit of that orange still? Let's see what happens here. So that is definitely some of that mix of orange and, of naphthol red and azo yellow in there, which is fun. I'm going to get my small brush. And I'm going to mix up. I want to get some color that's dark and not very watery. So that's some Quinn burnt orange and a little bit of the indigo, which I think we played with. But I'm going to try to just bring in a little bit darker color as along this edge where it meets with the with that wall. Can be confusing to sort of really kind of know what's going on when you're painting upside down, but painting upside down has the advantage of being a little bit more in control of where the color's going. I want it to get a little darker, but I don't want to lose all that orange. So it is a lot of this back and forth, and as long as it's nice paper and it's the whole shape is consistently wet, and my brush and paint is roughly the same wetness as what's going on in the paper, then everybody should be pretty good, make pretty good friends. And by good friends, I mean blend well together, sort of in a natural, consistent way. That's good for that. I'll let that be. And I'm going to wipe the tape again. Not sure if that's quite how I'm going to leave that, but it is for right now. I'm going to start doing some of these darker green shapes. I think I want actually a little bit more of the ultramarine blue and some of the yellow. Azo yellow, that's pretty watery. And I want it more dark and creamy, which will take a little work here. Try that. Looking back at my photograph, I don't want to get too dark too fast. Man, that is a drab olive green if I've ever seen one. I don't think I'm loving that too much. Try a little bit more of the ultramarine blue. That's grabbing me a little more. I think I'll lighten it up a little bit towards the bottom here. Just brought in a little bit more water. And I want it to keep getting darker as it goes higher. That's not darker. How about a little bit more blue? Getting a little bit sloppy with my paintbrush here. Don't want to get too sloppy. So I wasn't quite careful enough with my brush, but that's okay. Let me see what happens if I bring in a little bit more peacock too, because that'll help sort of green things up a little bit. Still not crazy about that, but trying a little indigo, a little more water. The value definitely is the more important thing here. So the fact that all these are darks, and it's going to be very dark, is the most important thing. But it would be nice to actually be enjoying the color of it too. What colors you enjoy is more than likely to be different than what colors I enjoy. You can see this paper is it's starting to not really hold its edges very well. I think it's just sort of, I think it's the back of another painting that I started that didn't go that great, so it might be a little bit tired and overworked. Poor guy. So that is mostly ultramarine blue mixed in with some some yellow and other darks to make a very desaturated, very grayed out, dark valued green. Cool green to be more specific, bluish green. One thing I'm going to do is it's always fun to well, things are at least somewhat wet to mix it up a little bit. Drop in a little bit of color here. I don't know that that's actually moving around as much as I was hoping, so let's see. It's brought in a little bit more of that blue. Curious how it dries. It'll dry a little bit lighter than that because the yellow, because it's transparent. I'll clean up that weird line there later. That's still wet. But while I am here, I'm going to at least start differentiating the parts of the Is that wet too? Okay, pretend I didn't do that. I'm just going to let things dry up here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but a bunch of things are wet in a bunch of different places, so I'm just going to let that dry and then figure out the next part.